What's up guys, it's Will here, back again, and today we're here to do something very exciting, and that is a review of the Moduspace mono display case that you can see here behind me. We have a prototype, and we're gonna talk about it. Guys, before we get started, make sure to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and click that notification bell so you are notified when content goes live on this channel. Gotta give a big thank you to Brian Wong for sending me this prototype. He's the owner of Moduspace, and I'm very excited to be talking about it today. That said, I have some conflicted thoughts that I think you're not gonna wanna miss. Let me cut to the chase. I have some mixed feelings about this Moduspace mono display case. But before we get to my feelings and opinions, let's discuss the facts. The Moduspace mono display case is the newest entry in the Moduspace catalog and seems to be heavily inspired by the now discontinued Ikea Detolf. It seems to me as if the mono is primarily designed with 6-scale figure collectors in mind, but it certainly can be used to display other scales and types of collectibles as well. The mono display case will retail somewhere between $220 and $240, and it includes one mono display case, 4 adjustable leg pieces, 2 vertical LED strips, 1 power supply, and 3 adjustable shelves. The case is about 68.5 inches in height with the legs installed, 17.3 inches in width, and 16 inches in depth. The height can vary based on how you adjust the 4 legs though. For those unfamiliar with Moduspace cases, they're primarily composed of metal, acrylic, and wood parts. The mono has a metal railing system, so the exterior and the interior. It has acrylic side panels for side viewing and an acrylic front door that attaches via magnets. All Moduspace cases ship to your home disassembled. I'm not gonna lie to you, assembling Moduspace display cases, it isn't easy. But I will say assembling the mono display case was easier than assembling the other 10 cases that I already have. A really important thing to note is that the mono display case is not stackable, meaning you cannot stack them on top of each other like you can with most other Moduspace display cases. These cases are meant to be displayed side by side. Still though, it does come with 3 shelves that are made of wood that contain black felt on one side and black hard laminate on the other. You can display either side in your mono case, so you should really just test both to see which you prefer. The shelves are fully adjustable, meaning you can install them with any degree of separation you wish, but I kept it simple and distanced each shelf by about 16 inches, which makes the display space between each shelf consistent. The shelves can hold about 22 pounds per shelf, which is fairly substantial for such a small wooden shelf. In comparison, the Ikea Blaliden can hold up to 7 pounds per shelf, and the Detolf can hold 8. Both of those have glass shelves, but still much less weight. The 2 included LED strips attach via included sticky mount tape that sticks to the inside of the case. This case lights from the front sides to allow the collector to retain the ability to adjust the shelves. The lights are very bright, too bright, but I'm hoping a dimming feature will be added in the future to help rectify this issue. But that's all for the basic facts, so let's jump to part 2 of the video and discuss my subjective opinions. The Moduspace mono is a good display case, but it has a few areas it can improve. Firstly, I find side lighting to be inferior to overhead lighting. In order to adjust the shelves, the case needs to have lights positioned at the front of the case. However, to me, I believe overhead lighting is more flattering in the display for collectibles. I've been told this would make it far more difficult to adjust the shelves, but I personally would gladly trade adjustable shelves for superior lighting. Secondly, I find the border on the front of the door to be too thick. This is to cover the lights more effectively on the front sides, but if overhead lit, we could reduce the border size and see more of the collectibles inside the case. I also feel the lights are far too bright. I've been told Moduspace is looking into a dimmer option, and I'm happy to hear that because it's desperately needed. The lights are far too powerful for such a small space, so a dimmer would help tremendously. Now that we got the negatives out of the way, one of the positives include its design. I really like it. I like the flat black look combined with the acrylic for all angle viewing. The mono case fits into the Moduspace catalog really nicely and makes for a nice complementary display case. The acrylic is good quality, but it does pick up and show more dust because of the front side lighting. Overhead lighting would help mitigate this issue, as would just dimming the lights. The mono not only looks great, but it feels great. It actually feels substantial. Unlike the Detolf, which I feel like has always felt a bit flimsy, the metal and wood construction makes for a lightweight but substantial feeling case with the mono. The construction feels premium here. I also think the case is relatively roomy. So for cases like these, I think 1 figure per shelf just looks better, but you could probably do 2 to 3 6-scale figures per shelf depending on the size of the figure if you wanted. There's about 14 inches of internal width and 13 inches in internal depth on each shelf, so that's pretty roomy for a vertical case. I also love that the mono case comes with lights. Similar cases require lights purchased separately, so having high quality lights included is a huge bonus. That said, let's move on to the next part of the video where we will compare the Moduspace Mono to the Ikea Detolf and the Ikea Blaliden. I want to start by saying that I have never owned an Ikea Blaliden. I can only speculate based off what I've seen online, so for this section, I'll mostly be comparing the Mono to the Detolf since my brother still has one of my old Detolfs and it's easier for me to compare it to the Mono as both are in hand. I will say that the Mono is about 1.5 inches wider internally than the Blaliden, allowing for increased display space. Both have a black exterior and the Blaliden is about $80 while the Moduspace Mono is $220 to $240. Both are made of metal, but the Blaliden has glass components while the Mono has acrylic components. So from a value and pricing perspective, the Blaliden certainly gives the Mono a run for its money considering it's a lot cheaper. As for the Detolf, it's been discontinued by Ikea, so they're hard to even find, but even if you are able to find one, the Mono is the superior case in my opinion. Firstly, the Mono looks better to me. I prefer the contrast of the black to the clear acrylic compared to the mostly all glass Detolf. Secondly, the Mono feels much more substantial. The Detolf looks good, but has always felt very flimsy to me. We have to remember, these used to sell for $60, so feeling cheap may be natural. The Detolf does have glass components, whereas the Mono has acrylic. I would say glass makes for a slightly better viewing experience, but it's also much more prone to issue as it can shatter from over-tightening and experience other problems. The Detolf is also not dustproof unless you modify it, and the Moduspace Mono is dustproof. As far as display space goes, the Detolf wins this round. There's about 15.5 inches of internal display space compared to 14 inches on the Mono. 1.5 inches is significant, but the Mono does have 4.5 inches or more of vertical display space and adjustable shelves, so you'll have to decide what is more valuable to you. To me, the Mono beats the Blaliden and the Detolf, but it's also more expensive. It could end up being 3 times the price of a Blaliden case, so that purchasing decision will be a very personal one. However, those who know me know my motto is buy nice or buy twice. That said, let's move on to my recommendation. For part 4, I want to go collector to collector and offer you my recommendation. As someone who has displayed their figures in Moduspace 6 series cases, DF series cases, the Moduspace Mono now, and of course the Ikea Detolf, I have some thoughts. To me, the Mono is a superior option to the Ikea Detolf and the Ikea Blaliden. However, I personally believe that your display will be superior if you go with something like the Moduspace 6 165 cases over the Mono. The Mono is a nice vertical display option that looks really nice, but I feel it's best served as a complementary display case. I believe the stackable display cases from Moduspace's 6 series allow for more figures to be creatively displayed and are more appealing to the eye. To me, I'd look at the 6 165s or the 6 110s and build out a display that works for the space that you have available to you. However, if you prefer the vertical display look or such a case simply fits your collection space better, the Mono is still a very good choice. It's hard to beat from a value standpoint. Regardless of which Moduspace case you choose or whether you choose to use Moduspace for your display needs at all, there is an affiliate link that I've placed down in the description below where you can look at the Moduspace options on their website. Just be prepared to wait about 8 to 12 months for normal standard size cases and a little bit longer for custom size cases. So there are delays that happen here and there, so you do want to keep that in mind that things can come up. I've been told the Mono will ship out in batches of 200 at a time, and they're easier to manufacture than other cases, so they should ship out faster than cases people may have ordered prior. But overall, while the Mono is certainly a good display case, I do believe it has room for improvement, but I think the goal of it is kind of to get people introduced to Moduspace in the first place. So I don't think it's going to be the end all be all for most collectors, but it certainly could be if you want a vertical display option. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the Mono Moduspace display case. I would love to hear your general thoughts on it, whether you've used Detolfs, whether you've used Moduspace in the past, the Blalidens, what do you use? Do you build your own custom displays? I would love to hear your thoughts and just how your collecting is going as a whole. But of course, as always, make sure to like the video down below, click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you are notified when content goes live on this channel. Guys, I appreciate your support as always. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Be on the lookout for more types of content in the future. Lots of important, fun things coming in the near future. And again, thank you as always for the support. Guys, thank you so much. I will catch you in the next video. Peace out. See you later. Bye.